Hey, what's up everybody? I told you that some exciting things were coming, and I am gonna start building the new enclosures for the babies. We'd like to sincerely thank our Patreon supporters. I think I wanna build 6 2 by 2 by 4, maybe I'll push it to 2 by 2.5 feet deep. So I'm gonna make them small footprint, but pretty tall. That way there's some branches to climb up, and I'm gonna put like each individual baby water monitor in there. That way I can watch their growth. I can watch each individual's eating a little better. Their cage can be right next to another water monitor so they can still be used to the other lizards. I can roll them out in the sun, they can get the natural sunlight, but I can also bring them into this room where I can let them out of their cages one at a time and handle them more in a safe place. Right now, I am using my table saw and ripping 2 by 4s in half. So it's truly 1.5 inches by 1.75 inches. So they're a little off square, the finished product, but you get a lot better lumber doing it this way than purchasing the 2 by 2s at, well, at least the lumber companies by us. The 2 by 2s are garbage. You have to go through the whole stack and you might find 8 decent ones. So what I'm gonna do is finish ripping the lumber. I already have a pile started over here. I should've bought a new blade for my table saw before I started this project. You got to keep a fresh blade on your table saw, especially when you buy a cheap one that's mobile like the one I have. You save a couple dollars, it's got a smaller motor, but you got to keep good blades on it for it to work good. I mean, the same goes for pretty much any table saw. But I'm gonna get all the wood cut and then start making all my lengths. And once I have all my lengths done, I will show you me assembling the box. I think today my goal is to get 2 done. That way I could move 2 black dragons into rolling cages. And then I can't wait to show you what's going on with the babies. There's one from the second clutch that has grown way past the babies that are 2 months older, 2.5 months older. It's crazy. The size difference. This thing, I think we need like some like gigantor name for this lizard. Once I show you, it's gonna be cool. I think it's gonna be a male. And I wanna move those 2 out because I think I wanna start the Dumerals, which we get next Wednesday. I wanna start them off in a 2 by 2 by 4 rolling enclosure so I can roll them out. I want my animals to be used to that natural sunlight, but I also am gonna have to confine them to that baby room for the winter because it's gonna be too cold. Unless we have a really nice sunny day, and then I can let them get some natural UV that way. So I'm gonna get started. So now all the lumber pieces are cut, and I did decide to go with a 2 foot wide by 36 inch deep enclosure. So those are all the basic pieces cut, minus the doors and the additional supports. Let me start screwing it together and then I'll show you. All right, so this is the first box done. 4 foot tall, 2 foot wide, and 3 foot deep. I think because of the way I want to save space on the porch, I think I'll put the door on this side. I mean, let's think about this. And that's, I think, plenty enough room to be able to get a monitor out. I mean, if I make the door big enough, I can access the whole thing. Obviously, this way would probably make more sense. Maybe it does make more sense. Maybe we will do the door on this side. I know that I need another 2 by 2 support on the floor. That way it'll support all the mulch we'll put in here and its water. And then, I mean, shoot, why not put one up on the roof? And I plan on putting, I still have some of that bamboo weave material. I plan on putting maybe a foot strip along the bottom and then maybe elevating the door up 6 inches. So put another 2x2 here. I mean, shoot, we might use a couple more 2x2s and shrink the door down a little bit. It'll be easier for it to stay square. But I still gotta put this other box together. Oh, and I left this clamp on, showing you, like, you saw that I had the front panel put together and the back panel put together, and then I have to put those. And then you're like trying to hold stuff. With the front panel, I kind of just stood it up and then screwed in these 2x2s, and then it's standing on its own. But to attach one to the other, once I have them all attached at the bottom, I always use something else to hold it, because I'm always working by myself. So I'm just putting this simple clamp here. I could take this 2x2, pick another one up and kind of show you, and the clamp will support that end while I get these edges together and screw it together. So I always use a block of wood and a screw or a clamp or something to always hold the other side. Almost always working by myself. So let's get this other box thrown together, get the additional supports that I want on it, and get the floor in it. And we'll start adding the other 2x2s for the door, make our doors, and get this sucker screened up. All right, so I have the 2 enclosures flipped upside down, because right now, just because it's all screwed together, nothing is technically square. But an easy way for me to square the floor is, now I could do a plywood floor, but a less expensive and better solution is I will use old real estate signs. So if you contact a real estate sign company or a sign company and say, what do you do with your old signs? It's the stuff you take down. So like when a large piece of real estate, like some acreage, is being sold, they'll either have that PVC board sign, and they'll take down that 4 foot by 8 foot sign, sometimes 2-sided, and that's garbage. It's already printed on, it's permanent to that address a lot of times. That's garbage. You can get that stuff for free. Or there's another product called Max Metal, and it has 2 thin layers of aluminum and a thin layer of a softer PVC inside of it. And it's a great product also. I mean, the mulch can sit on it, the water and everything, it does not rot. So most of my small cages have those materials. And that's what I'm using today. This is an old real estate sign. I'm not gonna flip it over because it's advertising for some real estate agent. But I've got it marked out 2 feet by 3 feet. When I set that on this, like I could see this one's a little wonky, it's a little askew. I will be able to screw down one corner and another edge and then manipulate this and get it all squared out and screwed together. And that squares out the bottoms. And then I can flip them back over, screw in any supports I need, and the top I can do, once I have the bottom good, the top I can do with scraps of 2x2, just like I do my angular gussets. I can kind of look at it, measure it, square it a little bit, and then add some gussets. It'll all square up nice. Nice enough. Again, it's just a lizard cage. It's not like some of that stuff you guys build inside your houses. That stuff is like furniture. This stuff is for outside. It's like rough carpentry. It's just gotta be good enough. And once we screen it, we're still going to, I need to get another blade for that table saw, but I will rip this 2x4 into 1/4 inch material, thin strips. And then once we hang the screen, we will go over the screen with those thin strips. So again, just like the big lizards, but the same but different. The big lizards, I'm worried about them pushing the screen out and a staple rotting and finding their way out. The smaller lizards, like right now as babies, I don't leave them out overnight. They roll inside. But once they get to like small, medium size, maybe 1.5 to 2 feet, I'll let them stay outside. But a raccoon could come up to their cage and smell that there's some chicken still in there or whatever, and try and manipulate that cage. And that wood stripping gives me an additional layer of insurance that that raccoon's not gonna get in. And I can tell you through all my years with reptiles, I have never had a raccoon. I've had owls dive bomb my cages. I've seen ospreys dive bomb trying to get at small lizards. They can't get in. So I'm gonna get started cutting those floors, and I'll show you once I have it squared up. And just to make sure I didn't explain that wrong, I am trying to show that this material is straight, even along this edge. So we know it's there. Look how much it goes off along the other side. So we're almost a ½ inch off on this side. Now, if I had two hands, I could show you where I can squeeze the corner. I can move this side in, and then I would put the screw there, and then everything would be 100% square. All right, now we've got the middle floor support done, and I put 2 screws through the PVC board into that. It doesn't matter that this is sticking up into our floor. There's going to be, you know, 2.5 to 3 inches of mulch there. The water's going to sit there, probably hide box there. It won't be seen. And what I've already cut, let's see which one. I know one is a little different size than the other. Oh, that's not a good. I thought one was 1/4 inch bigger. So, well, I think it'll fit in there. So what we're gonna do is measure and put a line for ourselves there, and we're gonna put this 6 inches up, and that will give us our opening for our door. Our door did not need to be the whole front of this enclosure, so we're gonna shrink it down. There'll be screen there, screen across that. I have plenty scraps of screen to enclose on that. And I've already started putting the wood gussets, but I don't just go and cut those on a project like this. I wait until I have scraps. So still missing gussets there along the floor, and then we'll also use them on the door as well. So I'm probably gonna stop after I get these 2 boards along the bottoms, because I need to rush back to the house. That albino female still hasn't laid yet, but I haven't been keeping track of the days well. I know she's been digging like crazy, so I need to get back to the other house and check on her. And still have time to dig them up and possibly run back out here and get those eggs in the incubator. So that would make 3 hours of driving, and it's 5 p.m. already. So I'm probably gonna get those last 2 boards in and call it a day and shoot over to Jupiter. I just put the casters on these 2, and this one has all the upper gussets minus this one, and I'm just cutting those out of the scraps as I do it. But I noticed as soon as I put the wheels on, this cage is sturdy. I'm trying to shake it side to side. This one doesn't have the gussets. And can you see the whole, I don't know if you guys can see it on film, but this thing, it wobbles. It's flexing and stuff like that. The screen will help hold it rigid, because the screen still works somewhat as a gusset, but it has some give. So stupid things like this give rigidity and longevity to your enclosures. It only takes a second, and usually, like, you see me do it on the big enclosures. You could do it out of metal brackets and stuff like that if you want, but usually you're just throwing out that scrap wood anyhow. So I don't have the ones to finish this one or to cut that. So what I'm gonna do is cut the 2 doors and then see what scraps. I wanna get these 2 done. That's what's gonna get the Dumerals into the 40-gallon, and I could shuffle some stuff around. I still wanna build 4 more after these, because that's how I wanna move everybody around. I think that will greatly help me out. All of the holdback black dragons and the guru sulfurs will be able to, each individual will be able to move into one of these, and that's going to help them explode with growth. And right now, the ones that are closer to the ground, I think they're getting a little stressed as I walked by, because I'm so over them. Some of them really don't care. Some are stressed from it, and this way they can have a shelf or a log up high, and they can get some elevation. They're not going to be above me. I'm just not building that right now. And for me to be able to roll these into the garage and then roll them into the driveway during the day and let them get natural sunlight, I want them to be accustomed to that. Even during the winter, on a warm day, I'll be rolling them all out and then rolling them back inside. I think that's what's best for my animals, especially since they're going to be outside animals. All right, I'm gonna start cutting the lumber for the doors. And as soon as I get the doors, hopefully I'll have enough scrap for the gussets. Then I'm gonna start popping some screen on this stuff. Because screen, doors, hinges, lock sets, that bamboo weave or something along the bottom to create, I haven't decided if it's 12 inches or 18 inches of solid wall along the bottom. I'll probably screen it first, and it could be something I can add or remove depending on which animals are in there. Get these suckers together and try and make that by end of day tomorrow would be great. Okay, it's the next day, and I have the gussets finished on everything, and I have the doors made. Should be about what, 3/8 of an inch clearance. Once I put a spacer on the bottom, it'll be a good space top and bottom. And this door's a little, I'm gonna have to put it in the vise. About 1/2 to 5/8 gap is what I want. I know that door, this one right here has got a little bow in it, and I'm gonna fix it on with a clamp before I put the screen on. But this one sits exactly what I want. So 1/2 inch gap, and if I pull it tight, it's 1/2 inch to 5/8. So the next step before, well, I gotta put the screen on everything, but at the same time, these last 2x4s that I have sitting here, I am going to, I put a fresh blade on the table saw, and let me find an example. This is just scrap wood that came from the other house. It's basically a 2x4 cut to, I mean, it's a little thicker than 1/4. I mean, really only needs to be 1/4. And so when I put the screen on the enclosure, then I can screw that strip over it. And again, just like I do on the large cages with the much larger trim, like here's the hallway door sitting here. So there's that corral board holding the screen on in case the staples ever go bad. I will have these little strips over the screen so there's no mishaps. So I'm gonna get all of those done on the table saw real quick, and then I'm gonna start putting some screen on. So I probably look like Frosty the Snowman. I'm covered in sawdust. I got all the strips done. Got a nice pile of them now. Should get these 2 cages and some more done. Lot cheaper than buying, what is it, 1.5 by 1/4 inch stripping. That's, oh God, I don't even know what it is right now, but I know it was $1 something a foot. Could you imagine what you'd spend trimming out this cage? And this is pressure treated, so I can roll these cages outside and let them sit out there in the weather. So I am gonna start getting some screen cut now. And now the screen is on the enclosure. This is all reused screen from the other property. I've got both of them done. Their doors ready to get put on. And I have some of the strips cut to length. Now these 2 strips right here are the door stop. So this will get screwed in there, and that's what the door is going to stop on. Also, this is going to be the hinge side of the door. Once the trim is done, I can hang the door. I want the door closer to the hinge side, and I want to try and have 3/8 to 1/2 inch over here on this side, so the door swings freely. But I also, you know, these are younger monitors that are going in here. This stop will hide that gap, and they won't be able to sneak through that gap. So I'm gonna start doing some of the strip this afternoon, but I think it's already 6:30. And I've got a steak to cook, and I just got a new mountain bike, and I'm gonna go ride for an hour or two tomorrow morning. I've got I don't know if you guys know, I haven't shown it yet, but on the roof of my other shop, there's those long racing kayaks, surf skis. I race those, and there's a race coming up in Key West that goes 12 and a half miles around the island. And I'm thinking that I want to go to it. I've been working, and I kind of want to do something to relieve some stress and have some fun. But because I've been working so hard here, as I'm talking, all day long I've been watching. There's these two red-tailed hawks, or red-shoulder hawks, I'm not sure which one, that have been around the property lately. And I have these wood ducks that settle down in my pond. Sometimes there's 2, sometimes there's 3. And this hawk has been trying all day to get these ducks. And he just took another swipe at them while I was talking to you. So I've missed quite a few practice nights on the surf skis. So I think I may just try and get some cardio in and just wing it and go down there and do the race. But I'm gonna get as many of the straight, like the vertical 48-inch strips as I can get done this afternoon, and then we'll pick up tomorrow morning. Okay, so now all the strips are on. This one enclosure, I used that entire pile of strips. I only have the longer sections done on this one, not the doors. But this one is done, including its door. And I am going to go ahead and hang the door now. And then we'll figure out some shelving, some wood in there, some mulch. And I think I'm gonna move that one single large black dragon into this one if I'm only moving one lizard today. All right, the lock set is done on the door. I've added some pressure treated 2x2s. So I have a place to screw the white pine shelving to. It's nice and high in the enclosure. I have a little branch for it to climb up there. Room for its water tub, its hide box, and now I have some bamboo weave material that was left over from a job, and we are just going to, I think just the lower foot, a foot to 16 inches, maybe 16 inches, and we'll screw that on. I have the bamboo weave. It was left over from a project that I did years ago. I think I have 2 more sheets of it. So if I cut this at 16 inches, I think I get, what, 6 of them out of this piece. And I have 1 more sheet that should be almost enough to do these cages. Maybe I'm gonna do some quick math and see if I have to do 12 or 16 so I have enough. All right, I'm gonna get to it. All right, it's time. We've got our package from Aiden. I went and picked up these guys at FedEx this morning. And it's time to unbox them. So I have this container with some water in it so I can get them just rehydrated from shipping. Not that they should be dehydrated, I mean they were just shipped overnight. I think Aiden said he has just 1 of these left when I checked with him last night. I was trying to show my appreciation by sending more people his way, but because of the rarity of breeding these in captivity, oh wow, look at these. Amazing little guys. The rarity of breeding them in captivity, they are not hard to sell. Let's see this. Wow. Hey you. It's so tiny. Look how tiny. It is beautiful. so much smaller than my water monitor babies. And I'll show you guys in just a moment. There's a little stone set up right here. He's holding on to his paper towel, and I'll let him for a moment. I'll get to the other one and quickly get them to where they can enjoy the water and everything. He did a really good job of packing these guys up. Okay. Let's see. No defensiveness at all. Just stunning. Absolutely stunning. This little guy. Tongue flicking and curious. You guys are gonna live a good life here. Let's see, get you in the water. Okay. Get you guys where you can see what I have set up. There's just a little sun piercing in here. So it should allow them to swim. I'll remove that paper towel now. And they should be able to climb up on that rock and sun themselves if they want to. No, one's back in the water. Just swimming away. So, oh wow. Now I'm looking at the camera and seeing that what you guys are seeing, you really do have to get really close. So pretty. So I'm gonna get these guys comfortable here, and I am gonna set them up with, I think it's just like a 12-gallon aquarium for today. I'm gonna set them up in there. I'm gonna run in town, get lunch, and grab crickets. Then I'm gonna hit my babies. I think they only need to get hit with crickets maybe one more time. And I think there's only 3 of them left. I'll hit them with crickets again, hit these guys with crickets when I move them into their aquarium. And I've got to get back to that cage building because I've got some animals to move around, because I would like to put them into the 40-gallon so they have a larger swimming area. And we'll try and get that done today. Okay, now I'm moving these 2 little guys to the 40-gallon. They are totally lost in this giant enclosure. They're checking each other out right now. I know I need to wet the reptile down a little bit. This guy's going straight to his hide spot. And he's gone. This guy, he's kind of exploring around. Tongue flicking. They're so very calm. Like, not defensive in the least. So, I still need to capture any of the crickets I can out of this and move them to where I just put them. We'll check back in a second and see if they start swimming. But now we're gonna walk outside. Now, if you remember me saying that that one black dragon was growing so fast beyond its clutch mates, now it just got moved into this cage, so I'm not gonna try and stress it out. This is looks like a male. Look, it might even run and hide. So I don't want to stress it out. Yeah, it seems stressed. It's been a very inquisitive one. It's not like it to show any defensive. Hey, you. It's okay. But it's gonna climb up the screen. That's good. It's good for it to feel like it can climb up high. Feel safe. Now, for perspective, if you look at the size, and again, I believe it's a male because it has a longer face. It seems like the females have a much shorter face. Those are the Guru sulfurs that we're gonna go through. Now this is the biggest one from the first clutch, which I feel like is growing quite fast. Considerably smaller than that other monitor. Huge difference, really. And there's just the two in there. I'm hoping the one in the back is a female. The one in the front, yeah, see, it's looking at me. You got food? Do you have food, Jerry? I could have two males in there, honestly, now, like, the more I look. But it seems like there's some monitors that are obvious either way, and then there's some question mark animals. Like, so now at a different angle, this one looks like it has a shorter face, and that's what I tried to keep, was females. And when we made the trade for the white throats, we traded for one of my holdback black dragons, but it was one that was in here that was an obvious male. So my goal is to end up with the two females if I can, and we're just holding back 3 from those 2 clutches total. So I need to get back to work on getting, now this is really good to see. Now it was showing that defensive behavior, but look where it is now. It's all the way up on that shelf, and it seems a lot more calm up high. And I could tell its little heartbeat is beating. It definitely looks a little stressed. Oh, then again, it's closing its eyes. Nice. So I'm gonna close the door and just let it get used to the cage on its own, undisturbed. And I think tomorrow we'll try some maybe chopped up mouse, finely chopped up mouse for these little guys. I mean, I've put quite a few crickets in there, but I can't tell what all they're eating. Now, again, they're only here for, what is it, a day and a half right now? Cute little tongue flicking. They are precious. Now, if you know these guys, they're brilliantly colored when they hatch, but I believe it's in just a couple weeks. I could be wrong, could be a little bit longer, but these brilliant colors are going to go away, and they will go to more of a drab brown with some banding. Well, that's great. See, now he's going to go up, maybe up onto that log, and maybe get some sun. Kind of has a different movement. Almost moves like a chameleon. And while I was talking, the other one stuck his head out and then brought it back. So I can't wait to hang out and play with these guys some more. That swim tub, that Waterland swim tub, we need to get the lid built for that. But already I see it's cooler at night, so I also need to race and get stuff done on the big enclosures, because winter is coming, and I got a lot of work to do. All right, guys, I know I wanted to get 2 cages done. I think before that I mentioned all 6. I don't know. But in reality, I got 1 done. The other one just needs to be trimmed and the door hung, so I'll get that one done relatively quick, but it doesn't move or separate out another group. I think I need 2 more done to get those black dragons out of that low 2x2x4, and then I could move the white throats into that. Then I could roll them out to get natural sun during the day. For the quicker I can get away from these artificial heat lamps and get them into natural sun and still be able to bring them into this room for winter, would be great. All right, guys, until next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. See you soon.